Hey there, dear viewers. Welcome to Obsessed with Werewolves. I'm so glad you're here because I know you, like me, have a passion for all things werewolf. From their captivating tales to their mysterious nature, we're going to explore it all. So let's dive right in and satisfy our obsession together. Chapter 20. I did not get any sleep. I stayed glued to the couch in the huge living room, looking at the door, waiting for everyone to come home. Waiting for Jenna to be home, to be safe, waiting to see her alive and healthy. My mother woke up about an hour ago and came to sit in the chair right across from me without saying a word. I knew she wasn't mad at me. She probably thought I did not want to talk to her, which was obviously true. I realized I had been too harsh on her last night, but I just could not stand her when she acted like a loving mother. It did not fit her. It made her seem even stranger, and I just considered her thoughtfulness fake. She hadn't had the time to care about my siblings and I while we were growing up, so why should I be okay that she started now? My past Luna and Grace alongside some other pack members had all gathered around the pack house waiting for my sister and everybody else to be home. Having your future Luna kidnapped was extremely tough, and although Jenna hadn't had the Luna ceremony yet, the pack members still thought of her as family. In this pack, everybody loved Jenna for who she is even before she was mated to Jonathan. At approximately 3 p.m. I heard the first cars arriving at the pack house, and I instantly stood up and went to peek from the window. I saw my father parking his vehicle in the driveway while the rest of the cars made their way closer to the pack house as well. I quickly headed towards the door with Grace right behind me and opened it widely, almost running to the vehicles. Jenna. I screamed, not managing to see in which car she was, and kept walking closer until I reached them all. My father was the first one to get out with Adrian, Peter and Carlos following him, so I realized that she wasn't in that vehicle with them. Jenna was probably riding with Jonathan, since there is no way he would have left her out of his sight after finding her. Dawn, I heard her voice murmur, and I swiftly turned my eyes to my right to see my sister next to her mate, who was holding her by her arm. I ran to her, although we were just about 10 meters apart, and closed her in my embrace carefully, not to hurt her in case she was injured. "You are here. You are back," I managed to utter while my tears kept on falling from my eyes and my vision became bleary. I did not move an inch. I just stayed there frozen with my baby sister hugging me, not believing that she was finally back. Jenna hugged me back warmly as if she was trying to reassure me she was okay. "I think we should take Jenna inside. She has been through a lot," Jonathan said, emotional as live from next to us, which made me scrunch my face in confusion. Wasn't he supposed to be the happiest man on earth now that his mate was safe? I softly unwrapped my hands from my baby sister and smiled at her encouragingly while she nodded at me with a small smile. Everyone who had gathered inside the pack house had already come out, congratulating and welcoming home all the warriors and my family. "I know all of you need some answers and you all wish to welcome your future Luna home, but I am going to have to ask you to respect her privacy for now. Jenna needs to rest for a while. We will try and explain everything to you tomorrow," Jonathan stated simply, and tugged Jenna with him towards the house without giving the pack members another glance. "Thank you all for coming," Jenna squealed as Jonathan continued to drag her away from us. He wasn't being harmful. I could tell that he wasn't putting pressure on his grip on her, but for some reason his hostility threw us all off. Everyone kept on looking at each other, confused by his unemotional behavior. Jonathan was one of the kindest people I knew, and that's why I always believed he would be a great alpha. His behavior was strange and so unlike him that I was sure something was up. Something had happened during this trip that had turned him so cold and cruel. My mother followed them in, clearly not getting the memo, while everybody else approached their loved ones and then started to leave one by one. I wiped my tears away, turning around to find Alvaro, my mate, who was the main reason my sister was back home. He was standing a few feet away from me with his stormy eyes fixed on me, as handsome as ever, with his demeanor showing his worry about my well-being. Even now, when he had just faced a battle, I knew he was wondering how am I holding up. He closed the distance between us first and kissed me passionately on the lips, proving to me how much he missed me during these past days that we weren't together. "Is it over?" I asked, tilting my head so I could see his face, and he nodded before pecking my lips one more time. "Why don't you go say hi to your family while I go shower in our room, and then you can come upstairs so I can give you details about everything?" Alvaro suggested, and I agreed reluctantly, not really wanting to remove myself from my mate. I turned my attention to my brothers and Carlos, who were all standing closely talking to my former Luna, and I walked hurriedly to them so I could hug them tightly like I always did. I put my hands around all of them the best way I could, and I heard all of them chuckle at my attempt to include all three of them in my embrace. "I am so glad you guys are all okay. I am so proud of you," I said with a voice that sounded a bit muffled since my face was smashed between their bodies. "We miss you. To now go to your mate. He has been driving us insane, keeping us up all night since he was murmuring your name in his sleep." Adrian mentioned playfully, and I giggled at that, not really believing him. Shall I answer him with a smile, and he raises his brow at me. "Fine. I am going." I answer and step away from them. "Oh, and Dawn, when you finish with your mate and your discussion, there is something I want to tell you," Peter declares with a mischievous smile that seems kinda odd on his lips. "Okay. You sure you do not want us to talk about it now?" He nods and grins at me dismissively. "Yes, I am sure, go," Peter says and motions with his hands for me, so I happily oblige. I reach the room I had been staying in no time and hear the shower running, so I know Alvaro is still in there. For a minute I debate whether I should get in the bathtub with him, but I decide against it because I was too impatient about finding out what happened to my sister and her kidnapper. Alvaro gets out of the shower 20 minutes later, and I am kinda upset he is already dressed. He gets on the bed where I was laying and puts his arms around me with my head on his beating heart. He takes a long breath, and I can tell he is about to explain everything to me. It was pretty easy to find Jenna. The kidnapper, Alex. He was an amateur. He had never done anything like this before. It was a spare-of-the-moment kind of thing. Their scent wasn't covered, and it led us to where they were without difficulty. The only reason why it took us so long to reach them was the fact that the man was a warrior, so he was capable of putting a lot of distance between us. Alvaro stops and gives me a sweet kiss on my temple before continuing. When we found them, they were already close to Canada. He wanted to leave the country with Jenna and never look back. Jenna told us that he treated her nicely, always talking to her in a sweet manner and never forcing himself at her. Though she would eventually start having feelings for him, so he was being patient. We found them in a forest close to Canada. They were sleeping, and he had given her his coat while he slept in his wolf form. I recommended that we make a plan to retrieve her, but Jonathan went nuts the minute he saw Jenna. He commanded Adrian to grab your sister, and he transformed to his wolf so he could kill Alex. Alex did not stand a chance against him. Jonathan was aiming for death, but Jenna, she begged him to let Alex go. She did not wish for him to die. Alvaro adds slowly and tightens his hold on me. "Then what happened?" I ask breathlessly. Jonathan was long gone. His wolf was in control, and so I interfered and tried to calm him down. I made him focus his eyes on Jenna while the rest of the warriors attacked Alex and put him on the ground, securing that he wasn't gonna escape. We sedated him and put him in one of our trunks. The East Hill Pack agreed to take him as prisoner since Jonathan didn't want to keep him in our dungeons. He did not want him near Jenna. Jonathan, he was really hurt, I think. He thought that Jenna might actually have feelings for Alex, so he became really distant. Jenna tried explaining to him that she just couldn't bear the thought of someone dying because of her, but Jonathan wasn't listening to her. He was very upset. He even told her that he considered her a traitor since she did not allow him to kill Alex. Alvaro states, and I just stay curled up on him and muttering, not really knowing what to say. I sigh and hug Alvaro more tightly, feeling overwhelmed now that he is close to me again. What a mess. I mean, I understand both of them. My sister is a sweetheart, so it makes sense for her to ask to spare the kidnapper's life, but Jonathan had every right to long to kill him. I really hope they will work things out sooner than later. I say as a few minutes pass and I kiss my mate's chest. They will. Mielba. They love each other. Alvaro says matter-of-factly, and I nod in agreement. Having Alvaro next to me made me fall in a deep slumber since I hadn't slept well for days. I was still half on top of him when I woke up and I picked my phone to see that it was for Anne. Damn. I had slept for too many hours straight, but I most likely would have slept even longer hadn't I heard some yelling from downstairs. I detached myself from my mate slowly because I did not want to wake him up and quickly decided to go check what was going on. I was still wearing my jeans and my blouse, so I left the room in those and headed to where the sound was coming from. As I got closer to the kitchen, I realized that Jonathan was the person shouting at the top of his lungs. "Wanna go find him? He isn't here. You won't be able to run away with him again." Jonathan roared and I could hear someone's sobs echoing through the house. "Please, come to bed." "It isn't like that. John, I love you. You know that." My sister deadpanned in a low breaking voice that made me walk faster. "Wouldn't surprise me if you actually planned this whole thing yourself. You know what they say, by little Jenna, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree." Jonathan replied and I stopped dead in my tracks. "What does that even mean?" "You are drunk and you have no idea what you are talking about. My mother never cheated on my father. Yes, she fell in love with a man before meeting her mate, but she ended that relationship the minute she met my father. And I have never loved anyone before you. You were my first love and I was hoping you would have been my last. I explained to you a million times why I do not wish to have a death on my shoulders, and if you cannot understand that, then that's your problem," Jenna said loudly, tears escaping her eyes as she came out of the kitchen. She gasped the minute she noticed me, but then walked past me without an explanation. "Come in, Dawn. I am feeling really chatty tonight," Jonathan yelled from inside the kitchen with a devious laugh, and I was about to run behind my sister and not waste my time on him, but I guess she would need some time to calm down. I did not comprehend what the two of them were talking about, but it was clear my mother had been a bit more outgoing when she was younger than I would have thought. I got inside smoothly and faced Jonathan, only to see him look like a complete mess. He was sitting at the table, his eyes red and puffy undoubtedly from crying, and he had 3 empty bottles in front of him. It took a lot of alcohol for a werewolf to get drunk, but Jonathan had done a great job at getting hammered. "You look like hell and you are hurting my sister," I tell him, coldly waiting to see his reaction. He stares at me and then laughs as if I had just said something awfully funny before he grabs one of the bottles and looks at it curiously. "Did you know? About your mother, I mean. Did you know?" He asks me and I give him a flat, unbothered look. "My sister loves you and you are breaking her heart," I say again, trying to make him see some sense, but he continues to stare at the bottle. "You didn't know. You still don't know." It isn't my place to tell, but like I said, I am feeling really chatty tonight. So please take a sit. I am about to tell you a story. He tells me with a smile and I move to sit across from him, tired of his games. "You see, your mother fell in love who had lost his mate when she was a student in Spain. He was a widower whose mate died tragically, leaving him alone with his 5-year-old son. His name is Timothy Peake. Rose was so in love with this man that she actually agreed to raise his son with him, to become the boy's new mother. But when she came back to the US to see her parents and inform them about her decision, she met Nicholas Logan, her mate. She couldn't resist the mate bond, so their match was unavoidable. Timothy tried to change her mind, but your mother knew that her mate was it for her, and so Timothy left." I look at him in confusion, not getting where this is going. "So my mother had an affair before meeting my father." "Boo, who even cares about something that happened years ago? Why are you telling me all this?" I interrupt him, getting annoyed with his detached expression. He finally takes his eyes off the bottle and looks at me in what seems like sympathy. Timothy might have departed that day, but there was something he left behind. Dawn. He left behind a baby, he declares, his expression serious all of a sudden. I laugh at full volume in a phony mare hearing his revelation, even trying to stop my reaction. Okay, Jonathan. I'll play along cause this just became kinda entertaining. So where is this baby now? Since it is another brother or a sister, I would like to find them. You know how much I love my siblings. He inhales deeply and locks his eyes with mine, all humor gone from his face. But baby isn't another sibling of yours, Dawn. This baby that was made from their union is sitting right across from me in this very instant. I am presently looking at her. Dawn, you are that baby. Chapter 21, Song Ruel, Depend. Start talking now. I say strictly with a firm voice that holds more power than the tremor that I am actually feeling inside. We were currently seated in the kitchen table in my parents' house. Or should I say, my mother's and the man's that raised me. House. Alvaro was sitting right next to me, clenching my hand in his while trying to comfort me, and his presence here was one of the very few things that was keeping sane in this very moment. My parents were sitting right across from me, both too ashamed and unable to raise their heads towards me. I had informed my brothers and sister about the news concerning our family, and they all decided it was best if they weren't around for this particular conversation. My mother had been crying like a child since the minute Alvaro and I had stepped foot in here, and Mr. Logan had been giving me apologetic looks that did nothing to calm me down. I was young and naughty. My mother said in a murmur, still looking down, being the first one to restore the ability to speak. I was studying abroad, in Spain, and I was alone and free for the first time in my life, so I was feeling rebellious. I met Timothy quite randomly. He was drinking his dead life away in a bar, and I had gone there with a friend of mine to dance. We met. We fell in love, and I was willing to spend my life with him and his son, although he wasn't my mate. I was so stupid back then. When I went to the US and was about to tell my parents about my decision, Nicholas came back to our pack after being away for 2 years, and we found out we were mates. She stops, and finally her gaze falls on mine. Her eyes are teary, and she sobs quietly before Nicholas touches her hand, and she takes a small breath. She stares at their intertwined hands before continuing. I was pregnant. I told Nicholas immediately, and he decided to stay with me and become your father. Timothy, he did not take the news well. He was so mad he even threatened to take you away from me. Maybe you should have left him raise me. He couldn't have been worse than you two. I interrupt her and see her flinch at my harsh words. I feel Alvaro squeeze my hand, and I try to calm down only for his sake. Our Gamma at the time used to work in the local police station, so I asked him for a favor. I adopted you the minute you were born, and you instantly became ours legally. Timothy could do nothing about it, so he and his son returned to Spain. Nicholas explains simply, as if he is not talking about what could have been my potential relationship with my father. Oh, is that so, Nicholas? How thoughtful of you to separate me from my biological father. I am almost touched. Funny thing is, it now makes complete sense. I finally understand why you always treated me like a fucking outsider. Because that's exactly what I was. I was a reminder of what my mother had done to you. That's not true. Dawn, I loved you as my own. I love you like my own. He tells me, looking at me dead in the eyes, and I nearly believe him. Right. And that's why you made sure I had no contact with my real father. That's why you took that away from me. And what about you, Mother? Was that guilt that was eating you from the inside for all these years? That's why you used to stay away from home all day long, because you couldn't bear to look at me. I bet you guys were ecstatic when you heard I was moving to Spain. You probably felt like you could breathe again. I state with a laugh, looking at both of them viciously. I notice that they have resumed to their earlier occupation of feeling ashamed of themselves and not looking at me. None of them says anything for a while until my mother finds her voice again. I am so sorry. I never wanted you to move across the world. You have to know that. There were so many times when I wanted to tell you the truth. I swear, Dawn. But how could I? You were already not my biggest fan, hence I knew you would hate me. You hate me now and you will never forgive me. But there is a final thing I can do for you. I can take you to your father. He has been living in the us for the past 2 years. My eyes widen in shock at the realization of what she just revealed to me. His house isn't too far away from here. He lives near the yellow tree forest. Nicholas says, and my head turns abruptly to my mate who shares my stunned expression. Timothy. Alvaro whispers as recognition hits us both all of a sudden. In unison. Timothy. The man who had been living near the yellow tree forest. The man that had allowed Alvaro and Mateo use his cabin when they ran inside the forest. The same cabin where Alvaro had taken me on one of our first dates. I had been so close to my father, yet so far. Is Timothy and me us now? Alvaro asks my parents, who both seem confused at our silent dialogue. Yes, Nicholas answers him, still a bit dazed. You ready to leave and go meet your dad? Me was. Alvaro asks me through our mind link, surprising me, and a smiley erupts on my face before I nod 3 times quickly. Good. It was nice seeing you. Alvaro declares and then stands up, taking my hand to help me move. I do the same, smiling brightly at my mate, and we both start walking towards the exit. My mother follows us all the way to the door, calling my name, but we continue to walk away. Where are you going? She asks, dumbfounded, and I open the door before giving her a final look. Anywhere away from you. I plan for this to be the last time I see you, so here are my finishing words to you. Thank you. Thank you for being such a great example of what a mother should not be. I am gonna make sure my kids never feel the way you made me feel. My kids will feel loved and cared for, and from now on I wish you a life free of guilt. Rose. Maybe one day you'll manage to forgive yourself. Goodbye. I say confidently, not giving her the chance to answer, and then drag my mate outside of this house. I am leaving everything behind. The entire ride to Timothy's house I was nervous as hell. I knew what we were doing was crazy and risky and it could backfire on us, but at the same time it felt so right. I had wasted so many years of my life feeling miserable for being the outcast of the pack, although it was never my fault. Feeling depressed for not having a mate at 22 and being so sad because my parents were too emotional and detached. This was my chance at finding a person who actually fought in order to have me in his life. This was my real father, and he was one of the reasons I ended up being mated to Alvaro, and I was more than grateful for that. I was never destined to become Luna of the Silver Lake Pack, and since I wasn't Nicholas's daughter, I could have never been Jonathan's mate. Rose and Nicholas knew this, but still decided to let me suffer through everyone's horrible comments and remarks about me. God, they were awful people. My biological father was originally from Alvaro's pack, so it made perfect sense for us to be mated. We're here. Baby, are you nervous? Alvaro asked me as he parked the car, looking at me expectantly, and I could he was on edge too. I leaned closer to him and gave him a sweet kiss on his lips before answering. A bit. But I think I am ready to do this. I have to do this before we go back to our house. Before we start our life. I need closure. I admit, and Alvaro hugs me tightly, making me feel safe in his arms. Okay, mi Alba. He says a moment later and gives me a reassuring smile before we get out of the vehicle. Alvaro takes my hand in his, intertwining our fingers, and drags me inside the forest and towards Timothy's cabin. Since Alvaro knew this woods by heart, it did not take us long to reach my biological father's home. We stayed outside his porch for a minute or two, staring at the door, not really saying anything, while I gathered up the courage to face what was coming. Should we knock on the door? Alvaro asks with his usual calm voice, He doesn't want to pressure me, but at the same time he knows that this needs to be done. I'll do it. I say a bit more confidently, finally ready to do this. I knock lightly on the door and hold my breath while we wait for Timothy to open it. Just a few seconds later, the door opens widely and a nice-looking man around his 50s makes himself appear. This must be my biological father. Although I had my doubts in the beginning, now I see it clearly. The resemblance between the two of us makes it apparent that we are definitely related. Alvaro. Timothy says, dazed, his eyes going from Alvaro to me and then back to my mate. Hi. Timothy. Calm as. Alvaro asks him with politeness, keeping his composure. I am good. Can I help you with something? He questions softly. Actually, yes. This is my mate, Dawn. By the way, we were wondering if we could talk with you for a while. It's very important. My mate explained, and Timothy nods his head. It's nice to meet you, Dawn, and of course, please, come in. My father agrees and opens the door wider so we can get inside. Timothy takes us to his living room and offers us both a seat on his couch. Alvaro and I sit side with my hand tangled with Alvaro's firmly. Can I get you guys something to drink? Timothy asks us kindly. I'll have some water. I answer him awkwardly without making eye contact with him, holding my mate's hand tighter. Me too, Alvaro adds with a nod. I'll be right back, Timothy tells us and leaves to go get our drinks. Baby, relax. I can hear your heart pounding like crazy. Alvaro uses our mind link to talk to me, and I look at him pleadingly. I know, but this is a big deal for me. I do not want to mess this up. I reply, giving him my most desperate stare, and he smiles at my expression. This is gonna go well. I can feel it. You have nothing to worry about. And even if it goes horribly, I'll buy you some ice cream later and it will be all good. He mentions sending me a wink, and I roll my eyes at his playfulness. This man always knows how to calm me down. Timothy comes back with our drinks in his hand, and he puts them on the short table right in front of us before going to sit on the chair next to us. I thank him before taking a huge sip from my water, trying to stall time a bit. Alvaro notices my stress, so he turns towards my father and takes the lead. You are probably wondering why we are here. You see, Dawn and I have been living in Albar Race in these past few months, but a weird turn of events brought us back to the S. An even weirder turn of events brought us to your house today. I don't think there is an easy approach to this matter because you will be shocked either way, so I am gonna just spill it. Timothy, we recently found out that you and Ms. Rose Logan have a daughter together. Alvaro declares, and Timothy's eyes broaden in shock before his smart gaze lays on me. His forehead creases and he looks at me thoroughly. I am fully aware of what he is seeing right in front of him. My eyes, the same ones as his, staring at him warily. He blinks once, twice, then 3 times before his eyes turn from shaken to warm and loving. Rose spoke up. She admitted the truth. He wonders with awe and keeps his gaze on me. I nod shyly while looking at Alvaro. His expression is soft and comforting, and I know he wants me to continue clarifying this situation, so I turn my eyes to my biological father again. Someone heard about her story with you, and he told me last night. I confronted her husband this morning, and they confessed everything. She admitted that Nicholas isn't my biological father. She told me about how you met and fell in love and that you wanted to stay in contact with me, but they didn't allow you to. I explain in a whisper, but I know he can hear me loud and clear. He seems fazed as he looks anywhere but me and swallows loudly. I tried to have at least some part in your life, but they made the local authorities wrongly accuse me of murder. They told me that I need to get back to Spain if I want to keep my son. My son had no one else besides me, so I had no choice. He was just a kid at the time. Rose didn't even share your name with me. She promised they would take good care of you. Timothy states with difficulty as his eyes become teary. I am so sorry I was never there for you. Dawn. I came back to the US a few years ago trying to reconnect with you, but Nicholas said you still had no idea about me. He said you were happy and that I shouldn't bother you. I stiffened hearing what he just admitted since 2 years ago I was the furthest thing from happy. I was completely lost. I was lonely. I did not know what I wanted to do with my life and I hadn't met Alvaro yet. He lied to you. 2 years ago I was so miserable I was bullied because I wasn't the next Luna. I was barely making it to school because I always had to take care of my siblings and I was so lonely. I stayed like that until I met Alvaro. I say with a voice that is barely audible because I am this close to start sobbing. He fixes his brown eyes, that are a reflection of mine, at me and I can see a few tears down his face. He gets off his chair and comes to kneel in front of me with his hands covering his orbs in despair. I am so sorry you had to go through that and I am even more sorry that you did not have me there to have your back. He sobs loudly and I freeze not knowing how to react. I slowly touch his hands with mine and take them away from his face, trying to stop him from crying. Seeing this man, my father, kneeling right at my feet breaks my heart. I quickly wipe his tears from his face and I look at him trying to get his attention. It isn't your fault. Do you hear me? These people took you away from me, but I finally found you after all these years and I do not want to spend another minute being sad. I am more than ecstatic to have the chance to meet you and have you by my side. So what do you say? Do you want to get to meet your daughter? I ask him with a smile while my eyes are probably red and puffy and I look like a train wreck, but nothing else really matters in this very moment. I finally have the chance to get to know a parent that actually cares for me. My father looks at me with a guilty expression, but I continue to smile at him waiting for his answer. I am more than ready to meet you, Dawn. My child. My daughter. Mihija. He replies, and that's all I need to hear before I embrace him in one of the most crashing hugs ever. The kind of hug that a loving daughter gives her dad. Chapter 22. My visit to the US had to end at some point. We had already stayed longer than we had planned in the beginning, and although I had missed my family deeply, I had felt too eager to go back to Spain. I was eager to return home. This time, though, I was bringing more people back with me. My biological father, Timothy, decided to move back to Spain with us, and searching for me was the only reason he had been living in USA. I was more than ecstatic to have him close to me where we could make up for all the time we had lost. However, he wasn't the only dear person to me to be moving permanently to Spain. My sweet baby brother Peter ended up being mated to my brother-in-law, Carlos. We were all taken aback at first, but when you put those two together, side by side, everything made complete sense. They were perfect for each other. Jonathan gave him permission to change packs instantly when Peter asked for it, although my brother Adrian had been against it. My heart ached for Adrian. He was feeling like he was losing not only his brother but his best friend as well. But this had to be done. No one could go through life without their mate. All of my siblings were stunned after hearing what my mother and their father had done to me, and they were not on good terms with them anymore. Jen and Adrian both moved to the Pack house as the new Luna and Beta permanently. My previous Alpha Christopher, I tried to ease their differences, but my siblings were unwilling to keep in touch with the people that caused me so much pain. I had also tried talking to Jenna about it, asking her not to keep this against her parents because of me, but she was determined to stay away from them. They hurt you, Dawn. You, the only person that had always been there for all of us. It's gonna take a lot more than a few apologies for me to even consider talking to them again. Jenna had told me when I was pleading with her to reconsider her decision. My little Jenna was all grown up now. She was a Luna. Jonathan and her had worked things out. Paranoid he had sounded when he accused my sister of being in love with someone else. He had gathered the entire pack and had told her how sorry he was in front of everybody before asking her to officially become his Luna. They decided to have the transition ceremony while we were all still in the US, and it had been one hell of a night. I had never seen a pack so happy and ready to welcome their new elf and Luna. Another shocking piece of information that I came across was that I had actually met my half-brother from my dad's side before. Timothy talked to me about him on the flight back home, and anyone can imagine my surprise when I found out his name and occupation. My brother's name was Mario Peak, and he was a police officer. Yeep, the same Mario Peak that had been my new lieutenant at work. I had tried to be subtle about it the first day I went back to the police station, but I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. Timothy had already informed Mario that he had found me and that we were both coming to Spain. He had planned a dinner party in order for us to meet, but the minute I saw Mario at work I blurted out the truth to him. He was dazed at first, but a second later he gave me a strong hug and welcomed me to the family. As I was trying to wrap my mind around all this new aspects of my life, I realized how contained I actually felt in this very moment. I was presently in our bedroom in the Godsend Pack house, and I was brushing my short hair, thinking about my new life, when Alvaro came rushing in with a huge smile plastered on his face. "It's finally ready. I am so excited. Me Luz," he said, giving me a kiss on my lips while taking the hair brush off my hands and leaving it on the nightstand. I was equally as excited as my maid about this, because it was finally happening. Our own house that we had been renovating for the last month was ready at last. We loved being close to our pack, so we made sure to choose a house that was just 1 yard away from the pack house, but we still wanted our own space. A place to call home. A place to raise our family in. "Let's go see it then." I took Alvaro's hand in mine, and we both made our way out of the pack house. "The fridge is already stocked because I know you'll want to make everything on your own for tonight's dinner." I asked Peppy and a few others to move our clothes to the new house later. I figured we could spend some time in there doing things that won't require our clothes on. My mate said with a wink as he kissed my hand lightly. I rolled my eyes at him dramatically, not believing how open he was being about this. My always thoughtful and sweet mate had become an addict. I swear. I guess it's true what they say, sex does change everything. Had I known what a filthy mind you have. I trailed playfully, and he gave me a knowing look. "You would have jumped me the minute we met, Alvaro." I hissed loudly, and he laughed at my shocked expression before his hands grabbed my waist and brought me closer to him. "Dawn," Alvaro exclaims with a pout, like a little kid who just found out Santa doesn't exist. "Stop whining. I need to make sure everything is perfect for tonight." I answer him, closing the stove in which I was making my FOUFFL and moving to wash some dishes that had gathered in the sink. "But I want to show you our bedroom. You know, where all the magic happens and stuff." He replies simply, not bothering to hide his intentions, and I turn around to face him, giving him a glare. "There will be no magic happening until this dinner is over. It's the first time we'll have guests in our house, and I want everything to go smoothly," I say, raising my hand at him in a warning manner. He comes closer to me, wrapping his arms around my waist, embracing me in a light hug, and then kisses my forehead gently. "Everything will be fine. You are an amazing cook, and everyone will love what you made. Besides, this is our family. They will not judge you no matter what." He tells me matter-of-factly and pecks my lips with his. "You're right. I am just nervous." I admit looking anywhere but at him, and my mate kisses me tenderly, making me calm down a bit. "That's why you should follow me to the bedroom. I think I know a thing or two about taking your mind off your worries." I chuckle at his playfulness and smile at him. "It's not happening, babe. Now go freshen up. I'll finish with everything here, and then I'll make myself presentable. You always look good. Mialba," Alvaro tells me and steps away from me, turning around and heading to our bathroom. 45 minutes later, everything, including myself, was ready for our guests. I was freshly showered, had straightened my hair, and even had my makeup done. Alvaro also looked extremely handsome. He actually put some effort today, because he knew how nervous I was and he wanted to please me. He was such an amazing man, I was truly blessed. Alvaro's mom, his brother Carlos, and my Peter were the first ones to arrive, and they showered us with housewarming gifts the minute they walked in. Carlos mentioned that my mother, Wall, was so excited that now both of her children were mated that she went all out on the shopping, ending up buying everyone too many presents. She was honestly the best. Timothy and my half-brother were up next. As Alba race and tradition has it, they brought us a beautiful gray clock that goes to the wall, and Mario informed me that it was considered good luck because we all needed to remember that time is free but it is priceless. You can tone it but you can use it. You can't keep it but you can spend it. It is safe to say that I was so deeply touched that I was almost about to start crying when Alvaro took the clock away from me and thanked my family for it. We were all currently waiting for Carly and Mateo, whom I had invited as well, to arrive. I wanted them to be here in this special moment with me. They're here, Alvaro said, approaching me with a smooth expression and taking the plates I was holding from my hands to put them on our table. Yeah, I heard the bell. I answered in a nonchalant way while taking more plates out of the kitchen board. Should we all move to the table? Yeah, I'll go ask everyone to come sit. I am so hungry. Alvaro agreed easily and went out of the kitchen to bring everyone in here with him. Dawn, something smells heavenly, Carly said as she was the first one to walk, and I gave her a huge smile before moving to greet her. I moved closer to her and hugged her before I picked something different about her scent. OMG, Carly, are you pregnant? I squealed lowly with bewilderment, looking at her flat stomach that didn't give anything away. Yeep, found out yesterday. Mateo said my scent changed, and I guess it's true since everyone has been asking me about it. She replied with a smile while putting her hand on her belly and pointing at Mateo, who had just stepped in. Congratulations. This is great news, guys. I told them both, and the rest of our guests also congratulated them when our alpha couple confirmed what everyone had suspected. Let's take our seats. I haven't eaten anything and I am too starved. I can't even focus on the fact that I am soon gonna have a niece or a nephew. My mate declared with his usual full of fun tone, and everyone laughed at his antics before they sat down. You too, baby. You've done enough for today. I'll do the rest easily. Alvaro told me and pushed me gently in one of the chairs while he served everyone. Thankfully, everything I made looked delicious, and I saw my entire family having no problem digging in immediately. We were wolves after all. So Dawn, how do you find your new instructor at work? Mario asked me, keeping a straight face and making me and my mate laugh hard while my father chuckled with a hush. Turns out we are related, so he is obligated to treat me the best he can. I respond with a wink and he laughs, a whole-hearted laugh that has my friends looking ass even more confused. Alvaro catches Carly's dazed expression and he quickly explains to her. Mario isn't only Dawn's brother, but he is also her new lieutenant at work. I notice the minute the information sinks in and she realizes the inside joke, so she gives my brother a genuine smile. My father stands up with his glass of wine in his hands, making all of us focus our attention on him. I am not much of a talker, but I really want to make a toast today. Due to some unimportant circumstances, it took me 22 years to find my own daughter. Actually, she kinda found me, he says with bitterness and turns his eyes to meet mine. I finally had the chance to watch you be who you are this past week, Dawn, and I can say with certainty that I am more than proud of being your father. You are so gracious, and respectful, and funny and genuinely lovely that I am more than thrilled to now be able to get to know you and live my life with both of my children by my side. You might not believe it, but I love you, and I am sorry for all the time we lost. He adds with a tremor in his voice and teary eyes while his hand is shaking and Mario grabs him by the arm and helps him sit down. To Dawn, Mario says loudly after he has put our father on his seat and raises his glass while everyone else follows his lead. I love you too. I mouth to my father as the others take a sip from their drink and his eyes light up. I take a long look at all the awesome people that have gathered in our house today and a bright smile spreads on my lips. I can easily say that I am blessed. Chapter 23, can you believe this day is actually here? I mean, yeah, it only took us like a month to plan this, so, God, you haven't changed at all. Jasmine replies to me with a chuckle while tapping on her laptop as the hairdresser is trying extra hard to perfect my hairdo. It is my wedding day after all and I have to look like a snack, as Luna Carly mentioned. I give my friend a wide grin in response and she just rolls her eyes at me. You have to be at least a bit nervous. Come on, you are the bride. It is your job to annoy everyone with your need for everything to go smoothly. Carly exclaims while standing up from my bed, where she was laying, and comes close to where I am sitting on a stool out of my mirror. I guess this stool has made my ass kinda numb. Are we almost done yet? I ask, tilting my head so I can look at the hairdresser, who gives me a puzzled look and shakes her head. Bummer. I sigh, itching to get off this uncomfortable chair, and Jasmine just laughs at my tormented expression. We probably should start getting ready. We are the bridesmaids after all. Jasmine says with a yawn. She is obviously really excited about getting all glam met up. This is going to be the only wedding with only 3 bridesmaids. I joke bitterly, seeing my friend's sleepy state. Alvaro and I planned our wedding in less than a month, so Grace and my sister both said they couldn't make it. Grace couldn't get time off work while my sister had too many responsibilities as a Luna. Plus, Jonathan still did not feel comfortable letting Jenna out of his territory in sight after she was kidnapped. To say that I was upset when I found out would be an understatement. I cried hard that night, to the point where I could hardly breathe while Alvaro held me close and tried to calm me down. As the days passed by, I realized I actually was more angry than anything less, since I would have gone out of my way to attend either one of their special days. Actually, the fact that you asked Jordan to be one of your bridesmaids was extremely shocking. I thought you were messing with me in the beginning. Jasmine admits, taking her eyes off the laptop screen. I smile nonchalantly at her comment and shrug my shoulders. She is Alvaro's friend. After him and I mated, I realized I was being unreasonable, and it comes to her. I was so jealous of their friendship that I never stopped to think about the fact that she has lost her mate. My mate and Mateo were there for her when she was at her worst, and Jordan always supported them on their journeys to find their mates. So I kinda really want her to be one of my bridesmaids, although we'll never be best friends or anything. I admit truthfully, hey, where is she, by the way? If I am going through all this hair and makeup stuff, she should stuff her with me. Jasmine says with a frown, making both Carly and I laugh. She texted me saying she'll be here in a minute, and she is bringing alcohol. I answer Jasmine with a wink, seeing her eyes light up the minute the word alcohol leaves my mouth. Typical. Es una belleza. Mi hija. My son is a lucky man. Alvaro's mother tells me with teary eyes when she sees me in my wedding dress hours later. You are really pretty, my daughter. Gracias mi querida sugier, a thank you. My dear mother, while I answer her while looking at myself in the full body mirror that Carly brought into my house just fortnight. I am not a very vain person, but any bride wants to look her absolute best on their wedding day, and my reflection is making me extra confident right in this moment. Girl, you clean up nice. Jasmine yells, dramatically putting a smile in all of our faces as she also notices my final look. Carly rolls her eyes at my friend's antics and gives me a supportive beam, and I can't help but feel so lucky to have these women by my side in the most special day of my life. The girls were ready as well, wearing their beautiful blue bridesmaids' dresses that I let them choose themselves. It's true. You look beautiful. Jordan, who actually showed up with some booze and helped us all relax a bit, tells me with what seems a sincere smile, which I return easily. Well, Elle, you all look hot as hell too. And if I didn't have the best looking guy waiting for me at the altar, I could have changed my mind for today's wedding, I joke cheekily, and Carly just shakes her head while laughing. A knock on the door interrupts our funny banter, and I hear my dad's voice asking for permission to come in. "Get in here, Dad," I shout before he opens the door hesitantly and focuses his eyes on me. "Hey, we are here too," Mario yells as he and Peter get inside after opening the door more widely. They all stop just a meter away from me, and their eyes widen with what seems like bewilderment. My dad puts his hand on his mouth while Peter and Mario have huge smiles plastered on their faces. "Let's give them a minute, we'll wait for you outside. Dawn, come out when you are ready," Jordan suggests, realizing that we needed some time, and I nod while all the girls head out with her. "You are the most beautiful bride I have ever seen, kid." My dad breaks his silence with a shaky voice, and I see him wipe a small tear from the corner of his eyes. "Hey, no crying please. You gentlemen all look extremely handsome. All the ladies will drool and all the other men will be jealous." "I am telling Alvaro you said that," Mario jokes, making me shove my tongue out at him playfully. A lone sad thought entered my mind as I thought about the only brother that was missing tonight. Adrian had to stay in the us, since his Alpha and Luna didn't make the trip, and I was more than the funniest of all my brothers with me. Peter moves closer to me and he gives me a head too, to look before hugging me gently. "I cannot believe you guys planned a wedding so quickly. I knew you deserved all the happiness in the world. You make sure you enjoy your night. Dawn," he tells me, releasing me and giving me a kiss on my cheek as if he sensed what I was thinking about. "So I am walking with Jordan, right?" "She looks extra good tonight," Mario says mischievously, and I burst out in laughter. These two have been flirting since I found out Mario was my brother, and I am honestly shipping them together. Yeep. Carly and Jasmine will walk with their mates, obviously, since Alpha Mateo is also the best man and Peter is walking with Carlos. Okay, so we should hurry up and get in line. Don't make us wait too long, okay? Mario demands light-heartedly, giving me a sweet kiss on my forehead. I smile brightly at him. My brothers both get out of the room and my dad fixes his attention back on me. "How do you feel, kid? Nervous?" he asks me politely, and I shake my head in denial. This feels right. I am marrying the best person I know. I am more than ready to spend eternity with him, I confess truthfully, and he smiles at my eagerness. Let's not keep him waiting. Then, give your signal to your maid of honor. We should get this show on the road. Can you believe we're married? I ask my maid as we are at our wedding's reception, slow dancing to one of my favorite songs. His hands on my waist, mine on his neck, my head on his chest, and this warm feeling circling us, making me realize that it doesn't take much to feel like you are on top of the world. I knew that this was part of our story. I was once sure that I would hold you in my arms on our wedding day. I knew I would take one small look at how beautiful you are in that dress and I would feel like the luckiest guy in the world. I knew we would be slow dancing to this song while I told you how much I love you. I cannot breathe if I don't have you by my side. Mi Luz, the Alba, my Dawn. Alvaro whispers to me so no one can hear, and I can hardly contain the tears that are about to fall. I raise my head so I can lock my eyes on my mate's beautiful gray ones, and I kiss him deeply on the mouth, not caring about the fact that all our guests had their focus on us, because in this moment, I was simply happy. I love you so much, I admit to him breathlessly, and my favorite smile of his covers his entire face. You know what else I was sure about? Alvaro wonders lightheartedly, and I raise my brow at his abrupt change of topic. I was absolutely certain we would have all our favorite people here on our wedding day. I knew no one would miss it. He adds with a sinful smirk that has my mind running in different directions. What do you mean? I ask him, confused by his behavior, before I hear a tender voice calling my name right behind me. A voice I knew too well. Dawn. My sister's voice interjects our dance politely and my head does a complete 180 at the sound of that. Jenna, Adrian, Grace, OMG, this can't be real. I scream and get out of Alvaro's hold before I almost jump in my brother's, sisters' and friends' hands. I stay like that, in my family's embrace, as the tears I've been holding all day finally come out in a waterfall. How? I ask, still in shock, while Jenna tries to wipe my tears from my face with the back of her hand. I told Jonathan that my Luna duties can wait. I know he is still very reluctant of letting me go, but I wasn't gonna miss your wedding. Turns out, I wasn't the only one who felt this way. It was very last minute, so we weren't able to find a flight to be on time during the ceremony. She explains to me with a face full of regret, and I just hug her tighter. It doesn't matter. I am just happy you guys are here now. I reassure her, and a small but genuine smile appears on her angelic face. So, where did my new brother-in-law go? Now that you are married, I should renew my warnings towards him. Adri and Jess and I roll my eyes before pointing at where Alvaro had been standing talking to his mother, Peter and Carlos. Adrian salutes us in his usual comical way, and I turn my attention back to Grace and Jenna with a grin that makes me seem like an idiot because the amount of happiness I was experiencing tonight to get out of my system somehow. You girls ready to dance your butts off? I cannot believe this day is finally over. I exclaim as I fall on our king-sized bed in our new house, still wearing my wedding gown and drained by everything that occurred today. I did not even know I could dance non-stop for so many hours and continue to feel this energetic. I was tired, of course, but at the same time I felt like I could conquer the world, just as long as I had Alvaro near me. Alvaro falls on the bed next to me. His gaze fixes on mine intensely, and I it of the first time I saw him. The way I could feel all the answers being given to me just by looking in those gray eyes that belonged to the best person I had ever met. He was everything I wished for then, and he was even more to me now. You look so beautiful tonight. Me was. I was having a hard time concentrating on what anyone was saying to me. All I could think of was how I longed for the night to end. So I could have you all to myself, he tells me lustfully, his usual playful tone missing. He is being sincere. He is admitting to not being able to keep his hands off me. He is sharing with me how he honestly felt while everyone else was enjoying our wedding, and this brings a huge smile on my face because I knew exactly what he was talking about. I move closer to him, bringing both of my hands to touch his beautiful face, and I smash my lips on his in a hungry deep kiss that lights my body on fire. Alvaro takes charge of our actions by devouring my mouth with his sweet tongue that knows how to drive me insane, while he easily starts undressing me, taking the straps of my gown down. He unzips the back of my dress with his one hand as the other keeps me hostage on his lips with his gentle grip on my neck. I will never need anything more in my life than my mate's desire for me washing over me in waves. This will always be enough. He will always be enough. My mate continues to torture me with his sinful tongue as he helps my wedding dress off me in just a few delicate movements. The minute he notices the pair of white lingerie I was wearing underneath, I know it is over. The look in his eyes says it all, and I was more than eager to fulfill all of his fantasies tonight. I was so eager to be united with him under the moonlight. I was so eager to make love with him. And we would be making love today from dusk till dawn. Bonus chapter: Dawn's POV is always dad. Padre. Father. Why are you screaming, girl? Your dad isn't here. I tell my daughter, who comes bursting inside the house with a force that had me shook. She was too feisty for a 9-year-old. Where is dad? We need to practice more. Jero beat me in training again. I was so close to coming first in the 4 miles race, but Nuo. That idiot had to outrun me in the last second. Again. She says as she gets inside the kitchen where a minute ago I was having dinner. Very peacefully. All by myself. I watch her as she sits down at the table right across from me with distress written all over her face, and I chuckle. Gero is the alpha couple's son. Mela? He is going to be an alpha himself when he grows up, plus he is a year older than you. I don't think he was trying to annoy you. It is just his alpha blood that is a bit stronger than yours. Just a bit, though, because you are definitely the strongest baited otter I have ever seen. She rolls her eyes at me and gives me a death glare. Mum, we both know that I might be the baited otter of the pack, but we have strong alpha wolves in our bloodline as well. And age doesn't even matter. So that is not the reason he won. I just have to practice more. Well, I am unfortunately unable to help you, since I am 8 months pregnant, but I am sure your dad will be more than happy to train you. Once again, as he always does. He is still out with Alpha Mateo though, and I am not sure when he is coming back. I say, and I get up to take my plate to the counter. Rella gets up as well, and she approaches me before putting her little hands around my waist in a sweet embrace. My belly has grown a lot since it is almost time for me to give birth to my second pup. I had Rella just a year after our wedding with Alvaro. A few months after giving birth, I went straight back to work. Being the workaholic that I am, I was set on getting all the bad guys out of the streets and in a cell while still taking care of my beta duties. Being in the police force gave me a great deal of joy, and so did working hard for our pack for the last 9 years. Alvaro and I thought that we were probably not had any more pups since it had been such a long time since we had our daughter. However, sometimes the moon goddess has other plans, and that is why, a few months ago, I realized we were going to become parents again. We were blessed for the second time. Is the baby coming home to us soon, Mommy? Rella asked me without letting go of me. Yes, honey. In about a month. Close to your dad's birthday. The doctor said it is most likely a boy, so you go ahead and think of a few names. Your father and I haven't decided on the name yet. Rella abruptly lets go of me and her eyes shine with bliss. Really, a suction. Mommy, can I name him? I'll go Google some cool names right now. She screams and runs fastly towards her bedroom, leaving me all alone. I laugh loudly, feeling the need to thank the moon goddess once again for blessing me with this family. 8 years later. My dear pack mates, I would like to thank you all for attending my firstborn son's 18th birthday today. I have been running the God Sen pack long enough to know that all of you have loved, respected, and supported my family and I throughout the years. It wasn't always easy, but you remained loyal. You all have witnessed my little boy become a man. I am proud to say that Gero is thoughtful, kind, strong, passionate. He has the skills and the brain to lead this pack when it is time for him to become the alpha. I pray that today becomes the day he finds his mate and his life takes another turn. But even if he doesn't, I know from personal experience that the journey we call life is always worth it in the end. It took me years to find my Luna, my Carly, but it was the best thing that has ever happened to me. Please enjoy this beautiful evening, and please keep in mind that if my son and your daughter are mates, I am welcoming you in advance in my family with open arms and an open heart. To Gero, Alpha Mateo raises his glass and all the pack members follow his move. We drink to the name of our future alpha, Gero, who today turns 18. I keep looking at him, the little kid that used to play hide and seek with my daughter, who is now a young adult. Alpha Mateo was completely right about everything he noted. Gero was an amazing young man, highly intelligent and a powerful warrior. I would like to think that his constant bickering with my daughter had something to do with how much of a strong wolf he had become. Can you believe Gero is 18? He was. He was just a little pup. Are we getting older? This is insane. Alvaro tells me in a whisper, and I give him a wide smile, ogling at how handsome he looked. So many years later, and I still couldn't take my eyes off of him. You are still the best-looking man I have ever seen, baby. Even though you are already in your 40s. I say cheekily and wink at him. Want to prove that to me? Me Elba. We can just go. You know, this man in his 40s would like to spend some alone time with his mate, who BTW is also in her 40s. This party is more of a gathering for the teenagers anyway. No, we can't leave. We are still the bait a couple of this pack, in case you forgot. And Jero might find his mate tonight. We can't miss that. I argue with him, trying hard not to give in. Alvaro's face becomes a bit more tense, and his eyes are telling me everything I need to know. Our mate bond was that strong now I could hear his thoughts clearly. You really think Arella is his mate? He asks me, still futzing, nervous for our daughter's future. It's not that Alvaro did not like Jero. He loved him as his own, just like I did. My mate was more concerned about whether Rella wanted to become Luna. Our daughter wasn't the typical 17-year-old girl. She had ambitions and goals, and she was a fighter. She took that after the both of us, I guess. She wasn't what you would typically picture as a Luna. However, she was very compassionate and generous. She wasn't the best at expressing her feelings, but she was always there to help when someone needed her. Amazing skills for a Luna, if you ask me. Probably yes. It is the traditional way an alpha finds his mate. His mate is usually the beta couple's firstborn. You and I both know that it doesn't always work this way, though. Nonetheless, Jero has been staring at her more intensely lately than I have for sure noticed. She is still 17. If she is his mate, she will feel the mate bond in a year's time. I trust him to be the perfect gentleman until then, but as if she is his mate. My mate deadpans strongly. Yes, baby. If she is his mate, is Luna. Don't get me wrong. I know exactly how you feel. It is hard on me too. Rella is our little girl, our daughter, and she is just 17 years old. But she is an amazing warrior already. She is a bit on the harsh side when it comes to emotions, but if she becomes Luna, she will be an awesome one, I believe. Alvaro nods as he reflects on it, and he looks a bit more at ease. Now that I think about it, I am glad the moon goddess gave us Iker 8 years ago. At least he will for sure stay with us for like 10 more years. That's a relief. He says with a smile that mirrors my own. At the mention of our son, I automatically look at where he was sitting a few minutes ago, playing with some pups from the pack. Yeah, but as he doesn't set us all on fire. I scream as I notice Iker lighting a small piece of paper on fire with a match. Iker, where the hell did you find these matches? Put it out. Get away from there off. No iPad. No phone. No TV for a week. I yell at him as I approach him quickly and see his pleading green eyes looking at me. Sorry, Mom. He says with a shrug as he blows air to the paper to put the fire out, and I turn my head towards the moon. I have some questions to ask you. Mom, 1 year later. You sure you don't want us to do anything today? No cake. No party. No friends. You don't even want to have dinner out with your uncles. I ask my daughter for the millionth time and get the same reaction in return, her rolling her eyes at me. Mom, no. There is literally nothing special with turning 18. It's just like any other birthday. I want to stay in and just watch YouTube. Rella answers me, not taking her eyes off her phone as she was lying on her bed. But it is special. I plead with her. You are becoming an adult today, and from today on you might feel the mate bond. She finally looks at me with a displeased expression and she puts her phone down. It took you and Dad literally years until you found your mate, which I hope is the way it is going to be for me as well. I've got big dreams, and there is no way I'll let any man stop me from achieving them. Oh, Rella. I do know you've always wanted to be part of the patrol squad of the pack. You want to travel and you want to see the world. You can still do all that. Your mate, whoever that might be, will definitely support you as you experience your dreams. She gives me a puzzled look and signs loudly. You know that it isn't true, Mom. who would be okay with letting their mate go to battle, or train every single day, especially if she is a female wolf. Things might have changed a bit since you guys became the alpha and beta couples of this pack, but a lot of boys are still super old-fashioned. So I really hope my mate takes his sweet TT time before he finds me. Alvaro comes inside the room in that very moment before I have a chance to respond to her. It is not like I am surprised by her take on the matter, but it still pains me to see her fear. "Hey, aren't we having dinner?" My mate asks, confused, and I motion with my head towards Rella, who, for the millionth time, rolls her eyes at me. "Fine, but we are just eating dinner here, like any other day, nothing more," she tells us, and in that very instant we hear our doorbell ringing. Relis coughs but still gets off her bed and willingly, "I'll get the door." I tell them both, "You guys go ahead and set the table for dinner." And get Iker out of his room. He has been playing that FIFA game for too long. I swiftly make my way downstairs to open the door, guessing it is probably one of our brothers coming to congratulate Rella. To my confusion, the person I see standing there is none other than our beloved future alpha, Gero. This kid is not a kid anymore. At 19, he is taller, more muscular, and faster than any other wolf in this pack. "Hey, Gero." I greet him kindly, "Mrs. Dawn. I am sorry for coming unannounced. It's just that my mother mentioned that you guys aren't celebrating Rella's birthday. So I brought her. That ain't a gift?" He tells me, looking kinda unsure, and this makes me laugh lowly since this boy is usually super confident. This is new. Yes, Rella has decided she doesn't want no celebration for today. So we are acting on her wish, but you can come inside and give her your gift. I suggest, and he gives me a big nod as I open the door more so he can get in. The minute Gero steps foot inside our house, the word mate leaves his mouth. It is faint, almost a whisper, but we can all hear him clearly. Me, my mate, who was at the top of our stairs with our son, and Rella, who was frozen a few steps ahead of them, in the middle of the staircase. We all heard him loud and clear. Rella has a confused expression on her face which almost makes her look as if she is in pain. Gero is dazzled, shocked but happy. Definitely happy. I look at my mate just to find him already staring at me before he puts his eyes on Gero. I can tell my mate and I have one simple, mutual thought. The boy is struggling. His wolf, his entire self, his instincts tell him to run to his mate, hug her, and never let her go. However, he knows Rella, so he stays in his place. In fact, he has known her his entire life. They literally grew up together. Gero knows her opinion on mates. He knows her dreams, and he is being cautious and respectful. That is exactly why I think he will be an amazing mate for our daughter. Gero steps closer to her, but hesitantly, and approaches her in a few small strides. He looks at Rella as if she is the most beautiful woman on earth, the meaning to his life, and I can't help but tear up at this sight. I hope that Rella's mate would be a nice young gentleman, and our alpha couple's son was more than that. His kindness was rare. Rella walks down the stairs uncertainly, her face remaining completely dazed. She still stays 2 steps away from her mate as if she is not certain about his next move. Since they are a bit closer now, Gero extends his hand towards her, giving her an envelope. Rella, still stunned and confused, takes the envelope in her hands but doesn't open it. It is a plane ticket. I bought it with my own money. You once mentioned you wanted to go to Greece and see the monuments and then train with the pack there. So I figured this might be a good gift for when you turn 18. He tells her simply, still looking a bit nervous. He finally stands straighter, with a better posture though, probably remembering the years of training he has had. My daughter looks at me as if she doesn't know what to do, and I give her a big smile and a nod to encourage her. I am guessing she just realized that having a mate could be simply magical. Jero hasn't only been great competition and motivation for her throughout the years, but he has also been her friend. There will definitely be struggles, difficulties, things that will make their lives hard. They will have to face a lot together as the new alpha couple of this pack. Nevertheless, they're supporting each other, loving each other and respecting each other, they can accomplish anything they put their minds to. I better get going. Happy birthday, Rilla. Jero says with an uncertain expression, and I can tell he is still restraining himself. Rilla takes one more look at me and then smiles shyly at her mate, taking the last few steps down to come an inch away from him. Thank you for the gift. It is very thoughtful. You could, if you wanted to maybe have dinner with us. She asked him nervously, and in that very moment I just know. The god, Senpak, has a great future ahead. Thank you so much for joining me in this obsession with werewolves. I hope you've had a great time and can't wait to come back for more. Remember to subscribe, leave your comments, and share this passion with others. Until next time, keep being obsessed.